So late last year when Ram flew me out to California to drive the all-new 2021 Ram TRX, I knew several things about the truck. I knew that it was designed and built to get air on an off-road course. I knew, of course, with its supercharged Hellcat V8 that it should do 0 to 60 in around 4.5 seconds. And of course, I knew it was designed to take on the Ford Raptor and beat it in every possible way. So now that Ram has loaned me the truck for a week, I'm gonna actually spend the entire time driving this car, living with it on an everyday basis, and seeing if the Hellcat Ram is actually something that you could live with. But I also want to test out the fuel economy because Ram says this truck is rated to get at 10 city, 14 highway, which makes it one of the most thirstiest vehicles I have ever driven without a doubt. But before we get into the fuel economy test, let's first test out the launch control once again, now that I have drier conditions, now that I actually can do that in my home area. So Ram makes it pretty easy. Literally go into the TRX button over here, go to race options, and then hit activate launch control. Floor the brake and the accelerator. All four wheels will actually do a spin and you'll get to 60 in 4.5 seconds. However, I've seen it as quick as 3.7 seconds according to Car and Driver, which is just unheard of for a four-wheel drive pickup truck that weighs 6,800 pounds. This thing is 1,600 pounds heavier than a Jeep Trackhawk, and it gets to 60 only 0.3 seconds slower. So that's really the most batshit kind of crazy pickup truck that you can buy. It's this vehicle right here. And it's what makes FCA so damn appealing, is the fact that they are just so absolutely crazy that you can buy a factory truck like this that'll easily reach, 115 miles an hour, yet it keeps wanting to keep pulling because the tires can't handle it anymore. It has a noise that just constantly reminds you of its supercharged intentions underneath that massive hood bulge. And, you can go off-roading with this thing whenever you'd like. You basically don't fear much out on the road and, on a road course. So let me quickly refresh your memory on what the Ram TRX looks like on the outside. You can see the one that Ram sent me this week is painted in hydro blue. It's got the Ram Level 2 or the TRX Level 2 equipment upgrade package. And it's a little bit more modest in terms of accessorized options. You can literally customize this truck until your heart's content. I probably would add the Ram bar that's at the back that my tester is missing, along with the hood graphics package, which would paint the roof or the hood black color to make this truck look even more standout-ish. Now you can see the front fascia is probably what a lot of you are going to see this thing or see out on the road when this truck comes up on your rearview mirror. It is definitely one mean looking truck. The massive Ram badge at the center, which is a flow-through design, of course, because that supercharged engine needs to feed on all that air. You have this functional hood scoop here with those 3 LED lights that showcase how wide this truck is. At 6 inches wider than a regular Ram, this is definitely one big vehicle out on the roads. I actually had trouble keeping it in the lanes because this truck is so wide. Full LED headlights, LED turn signals, LED fog lights, of course, are included. And this vehicle offers a little over 11.5 inches of ground clearance. But let me show you guys a quick little walk around. My tester has the standard wheels that come with the vehicle. These are an 18-inch design wearing 35-inch tall tires. Ram offers a beadlock capable wheel for around $1,000 if you guys want it. The suspension obviously has been completely upgraded. And even out on this gravel-covered parking lot with completely untouched snow, this truck literally goes through it like there's nothing. I mean, this is the kind of terrain, or this kind of snow I would hesitate to take a crossover through because it would probably get stuck. I mean, check out how deep it is. It's almost like going through sand because of how deep the snow is. But with those 35-inch tall Goodyear Wrangler all-terrain tires, the Ram TRX makes it very, very easy. My tester also has the $995 option for the bed-mounted spare tire. It's a full-size spare. It weighs around 100 pounds extra, and you're carrying that constantly. And the truck also comes with another full-size spare underneath the cab or underneath the bed. So if you're gonna be doing some jumps in this thing, you've got 2 full-size spare tires, which is completely unheard of in today's modern vehicles where manufacturers are getting rid of the spare tires. Now, the TRX continues to be available in just 2 or in 1 cab configuration. You've got the 4 full-size doors, the shorter bed, which means you have a 5.5-foot bed. You can see the bulging fenders on this truck and that massive hood with the big 6.2-liter supercharged badge over there. And then remember, if you guys watch my Ram TRX video, the full one, there is a little Easter egg of a T-Rex eating a Raptor underneath that hood to show, of course, the dominance and hierarchy of the Ram TRX. So rather ironically, I'm taking the T-Rex on a 200-mile road trip one way from Pennsylvania to New Jersey to go drive the 2022 Chevrolet Bolt. That video will be posting probably way before this video, so if you want to see that video, of course, click on the link in the description below. You can check that out. And it's rather ironic because I'm driving probably one of the most gas-thirsty vehicles that you can buy in 2021 today to go drive an all-electric car that has been around for the last 5 years, although it's now in its second generation. But we're not here to talk about the Chevrolet Bolt. We're here to talk about the Ram TRX, because this truck, we already know it's bonkers fast, 0 to 60 in 4 seconds. We already know that it can practically handle any off-road terrain that its owner is going to throw at it, and even take a few jumps, controlled jumps that aren't going to destroy the truck, of course. But what I haven't really talked about is how does the TRX drive when you're on a long highway trip? Because yes, this truck looks like it can handle a zombie apocalypse. However, most owners are going to be driving it in these types of highway conditions, right here on the interstate, cruising along, taking it on long trips, using it to and from to get to and from work, of course, to go to the office, to go to the grocery store, to go to the mall, or whatever you plan to use your truck for, or do truck things with it. And I've been driving the TRX on this interstate for the last 72-ish miles or so. And when I started out this trip, I filled up the tank completely full, and it showed 248 miles of range. 248 miles of range on a truck that has a 33-gallon gas tank. That's because when I was driving this thing around town, it was only averaging 8 miles to the gallon. You heard that right, 8 miles to the gallon, which is less than the 10 mpg that the EPA says. Now that I've reset the trip, I've been driving the last hour and 15 minutes on the highway. We still have another 112 miles to go. The gas mileage of this truck has obviously improved. It's gone up to around 13.5 miles to the gallon. 13.5 miles to the gallon is just shy of the 14 miles to the gallon the EPA says this truck will do. The range has also improved. I've gone around 72 miles, like I said, 75 miles, and it's improved to 293 miles now in terms of range, which means the trip computer is probably going to say this truck will do around 370 miles on a full tank, which is still not great considering this has a 33-gallon gas tank. If it gets 14 miles to the gallon, you should theoretically be able to do around 450 miles of range on a full tank when you're out on the highway. Now, granted, this is a press truck. It lives a pretty hard life. Journalists beat the crap out of these things. But I've been babying it for the last hour just to see what kind of gas mileage it will do. The other things I'm also noticing about it, my truck has the level 2 upgrade package, so it has full speed range adaptive cruise control. It has lane keep assist. The adaptive cruise control I've been using the last few minutes, it works pretty well in maintaining the distance. When a vehicle moves out of the way, it actually accelerates pretty quick. And this truck has plenty of power to pass people. I also like how I'm sitting so high, so there's a lot of these tractor trailer semi trucks, and I'm actually not eye level with them, but I can actually look over and see inside their vehicles, their cabs, which is not something that you can do in a regular, car or SUV. So it's kind of cool to be sitting up so high. You feel very safe in this thing. You feel like you're king of the road. The one thing I don't like about the TRX are these seats. These are the optional leather and Alcantara bucket seats. And they could be a little bit softer. I find them to be rather hard in the padding. They don't really hug me quite as well. I feel like they're designed for somebody who's much fatter than myself. So I feel like I'm still kind of sliding everywhere, and the cushioning is just too hard. I wish it was softer. I'm finding my lower back is aching a little bit as I've sat here for the last hour. So as with any vehicle, try the seats out, make sure they work for you. Somebody of my 5'7" frame, these seats aren't the most comfortable seats, so that's definitely a miss for me. Visibility of the truck, out of the truck, is excellent though. You know, you have this massively wide or bulging hood, but I can still see over it pretty well. I like the rear view camera mirror also that gives you pretty much a entire view of the rear. If I don't like that, I can also just go to a regular rear view, but the camera view gives you way more to see, which is nice. And the lane keep assist in this truck, it works okay. It basically will ping pong you back and forth between the lanes. But you know, Ram and Stellantis in general, they're not known for having the best driver assistance tech. Hopefully we'll be seeing that in the coming years. Now, in terms of, long-term cruising in the TRX. Now, if you guys went by gas prices today, which I paid $3.67 a gallon for premium in this truck before I left, that would mean if I wanted to fill this truck up from empty to full, it would cost roughly $110, $115. And if you drive this primarily around town, that means you're going to be spending about $400 to $450 a month in gas charges, which is for some people a car payment on its own. So the fact that this is a thirsty vehicle, she's not just thirsty, she's really, really thirsty, because nearly $500 a month in fuel charges. Now, granted, if you drive this thing mostly on the highway, it will do better in terms of range, but you have to have a certain amount of discipline to not go near the throttle with this thing, because it really does tempt you to go faster. It really wants to go fast, and even though the top speed is limited to 115 miles an hour or so, it's very tempting to kind of just put your foot down and pass a slow-moving semi like this. And it just has plenty of FU power for something that is this big, that's this heavy. Now, granted, I did that, and it probably just chugged another gallon of gas, but it has so much power on the highway, and it sounds good. The ride quality also in the TRX is not what I'd say the smoothest. You definitely can feel the bumps in this truck. If you put some stuff in the bed, it might be a little bit better. I also hear the exhaust constantly. It's a little drony at times. And in terms of quietness, from the drony exhaust, which can get a little tiresome, you do hear some of the tire roar from these big 33-inch or 35-inch tall, Goodyear Wrangler tires. But that's kind of the price you pay when you have a vehicle that's sitting up so high, that has this kind of off-road capability. It is still a very good highway cruiser, but just know, this truck, even though it wasn't built to save gas, this is thirsty even by pickup truck standards. And you have to wonder, what is FCA going to do to replace something like this? Because yes, the TRX is a cool truck, but they can't keep going on like this. They won't be able to deal with the upcoming regulations, with fuel economy emission standards. So the Hellcat motor is awesome. It's just very much kind of living in the past, which is, if that's what you prefer, I don't blame you. This is still a very cool truck, and it's very much an easy truck to drive on the highway. You're just gonna be spending a pretty penny on gas, that's for sure. So right behind me, it may look like I'm out here on a frozen lake, but this is actually my usual filming spot. This is kind of a gravel-covered parking lot. And getting a vehicle like the Ram TRX in these kind of conditions where you have roughly 8 to 10 inches of snow, untouched snow on the ground, is partly the reason why you want to buy a pickup truck like this. I mean, this truck literally can get through almost any kind of terrain that you could possibly throw at this thing, yet it also will coddle you in luxury, technology, space on the inside, and a crazy noise from its Hellcat Supercharged V8. And even though the fuel economy of this thing sucks, you're not going to buy one of these for fuel economy. This is the kind of car that we're probably not going to see very many types of vehicles anymore, because FCA has been on this crazy thing, or actually Stellantis has been on this crazy path of Hellcatting all the things. This is going to be a last of its kind beast, because at $87,000, this is one expensive truck that makes it around $16,000 more expensive than the previous generation Raptor. However, until Ford comes out with the upcoming Raptor R, which should have a Shelby GT500 Supercharged V8 under the hood, this is definitely the biggest, baddest super truck that you can buy today, at least until one of those crazy electric trucks come out. And I'm happy to report that I'm still very much in love with the Ram TRX. If you guys can afford the $71,000 starting price for a base version, let alone the $87,000 price tag that my Tester is, and it's still missing a panoramic sunroof that would push the price to closer to $90,000, the Ram TRX is most definitely the biggest, baddest, craziest, crazy supercharged truck that money can buy. But with all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my follow-up review to the 2021 Ram TRX, taking it out on a fuel economy test, trying it out in the real world for a week. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.